What is going on, Savages? I hope everyone is doing well. We have even more to cover on the whole RAVENCOIN assets and our restricted assets and tags use case that we were kind of goofing around with last week. And we're going to go, I've been doing some studying and learning on how it all works, and I can kind of explain why we got kind of tripped up on the whole thing, or why I got tripped up on it. So let's get into it right after this. So before we get too far into the content, if you're not familiar with RAVENCOIN, here is a real quick, the basics. If you are new to RAVENCOIN, this is not any kind of sponsored content or anything like that. I've just been supporting Raven since well, not really since they launched, but probably about 3 or 4 months after they launched. Most everybody that mines is pretty familiar with them because, you know, from time to time they're pretty profitable, or at least they used to be back before ASICs and FPGAs took over the network. So, but that's a whole other story, and maybe someday I'll do a video on that. But I'm pretty salty about it actually, so I'll just press on. Anyway, so if you're new to RAVENCOIN, you know, the basics, the protocol is designed to make it easier for users to create and manage digital tokens such as game or securities tokens. We're kind of using it in a totally different manner, but our use case is going to work. It's just not going to work the way that I thought it was initially. And also they have tagging and restrictions, allow advanced options, controls for compliance. That's we are going to use a little bit of that. And the project is decentralized, no fundraise or pre-mine or any of that nonsense. Let's also look at Raven Whales. This is a Twitter bot or a Twitter account that basically documents when large amounts of Raven are moved from one address to another. I think they have it, I can't remember the number. It probably says it somewhere in here. But there's a number, you know, of the minimum number. They don't do it for every transaction. That would be crazy. I think it maybe 100,000. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but they've got some number in here. But normally the amounts that you'll see are somewhere around 1 million, because that's normally coming from, you know, whales of some type, whether it's a pool that's mining or, you know, or whatever. But what I have noticed lately, it seems that here's a couple of pretty big transactions to Binance. Normally whenever you see something go to Binance, that means it's for sale, right? But there are some that you see from unknown to unknown. There's some, I've noticed quite a few like these right here, sent to unknown from Binance. So if you see stuff coming, large amounts coming from Binance to an unknown, then that's kind of interesting, right? Because that means that they're probably not selling it. Which means that what you should see is potentially the price of or the value of Raven actually go up, right? Because there's less available supply for purchasing. And, you know, there's a lot of volume here, so it's really hard to, not hard, but, you know, you can't really relate one thing directly to another. But it's better to see actual going from Binance to an address, to another address. I think that's kind of a good sign. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Raven Market, kind of took a real quick glance at that just a second ago. See what's going on, and I do have it actually green behind me, and this is like based on you know, whether or not it's a green or a red day, and it is green because it's basically like alt. This is exactly what it would look like in a real alt season. You would have BTC red, BTC decreasing. You would have decreasing Bitcoin dominance, and then the alts would be green like they are right here. So this is a pretty good example of what an alt season would look like. And it would be like this constant, you know, or for extended periods of time anyway. So what we got for RAVENCOIN here, we got 33 million volume, 185 million market cap. There's only 5.5 billion in circulation out of 21 billion. Still a lot to be mined and all that. So just a quick look at what's going on with their market. So now let me check the chat real quick, see what's going on. And there's nobody in here. I think it's just me. That's okay. I can talk about it. Obviously, this is not a very hot topic for people. I think that, you know, maybe because it's a mining channel that they don't really want to get into projects, but I find this stuff pretty fascinating. I think it's interesting, and I think it's kind of silly for you to be supporting a coin with hash power and you don't even know what it does. So that's why I'm going into it and I'm diving into it and I'm trying to figure it out, because it's pretty intense and things get kind of crazy real quick. So I did some studying up on it this weekend, and I feel like I've got kind of a pretty good handle on it, at least with regards to the restricted assets and tags, which we were dealing with last week. I've got, let me make sure I'm on track here with my notes. Yeah, so restricted assets and tags, messaging channels, all that stuff went live, and all that was known as Phoenix, and that went live on block 1092672, and I think it was on February 7th, I think, somewhere around in there. And the upgrade was mainly to support, you know, RAVENCOin, like this tweet here by Bradar says, you know, the Phoenix hard fork enables users to create all sorts of assets, and he's asking, he did a poll, you know, what kind of token would be issued the most for RAVENCOin, and it looks like an STO, a security token, would be the most popular, which, you know, given the capabilities of restricted assets and tags and messaging channels and voting and all that stuff, that would make sense that the primary purpose of those features would be for a security token. And one thing I have to note is, you know, the original design of RAVENCOin and that those original assets, the unique asset, the main asset, well, the main, the unique, the sub asset, all that stuff is still there. So all these restricted assets and tags, all that is in addition to, it's not in place of, right? So all those original features and capabilities of assets and all that stuff is still there. This is not replacing anything. So I saw some people referring to it as, you know, not selling out, but basically becoming a KYC platform and stuff. And it was weird communication, but it didn't make any sense because all that old stuff is still there. So just keep that in mind as you are thinking about RAVENCOin. And in order to participate in restricted assets, you have to be on version 3.3 or higher. I believe that this is still the latest. There might have been, this was January 10th. Let me go back over here. Make sure that's the latest, because I have a tag. Okay, so no, it's not. All right, so they do have an update to the wallet. Yep, they have an update to the wallet, 3.3.2, and it looks like added some. Okay, added ability to move, remove invalid transactions from the mempool. Okay, some other. Looks like mostly for command line interface type stuff. Probably still okay to be on 3.3 like me. But I probably will go ahead and do a update too as well. So probably not tonight because we won't have time, I don't think, but I will maybe do a video on that as well. So we've been discussing RAVENCOin restricted assets and why this all came up, why it's a thing. And we came up with this, me and Serpent X Special Forces came up with, we were discussing like using these new features in a use case scenario and kind of talking about it and trying to get it understood with what it all means. And we came up with a situation, let me show you what we came up with. This is basically, real quick, I'll run through this. I've just been doing like a little slideshow on it so that we can kind of get it into our heads what we're actually trying to deal with here. So we were going to use the restricted assets and tags in a situation where there was a Subaru VIP experience tag that would be associated with subscribers. Actually, it ended up being what it is now, which is basically like a subscription. So a Subaru owner would own a tag or or they would pay a subscription, and then a tag would be issued on their address that would say that basically they were paying for that that service or that subscription. So the scenario is Serpent X owns an authorized service center that services cars such as the Subaru WRX STI 209. That's why that has been in the thumbnails for all my videos recently, because we're kind of working on this scenario and we're just keeping it going. Subaru tracks their WRX S209s in the USA using a main asset, Subaru USA. You'll see that in a minute. Subaru USA creates a sub-asset for each car, right? And actually, hang on, no. Subaru USA creates a sub-asset for each vehicle model. Okay, so there's a sub-asset called WRX STI S209. Then there's a unique asset for each S209 underneath that. And the unique assets are unique. There's there's only one issued. There can't be two. So it is basically identifying that vehicle by VIN number, or however you want to identify, serial number, however you want to do it. And you would probably use, I would say that the best way to do that would probably be something like use IPFS to have a picture of the car, the picture of the VIN. All that would go into IPFS, the interplanetary file system. And then you would reference that from that unique asset, right? It would be part of the unique asset. It would be the IPFS hash inside of there that you would be able to click on. If you were examining that asset, you would be able to click on it and see a picture of the car. You could even update it. I believe you would be able to update it to where, each owner could put their own picture, right? So they could stand by the car that they own and take a picture of it, and that would be added to IPFS. Along with the VIN number and all that stuff. Anyway, it can get as crazy as you want it to get. So in our little scenario here, Subaru USA works with VIP Ventures, and they have a VIP experience subscription for special treatment at ASCs, such as a priority scheduling service, access to a VIP room with refreshments. Some of this is ridiculous, of course, open bar, massage parlor, etc., right? And Serpent needs to be able to verify that if a car owner brings their Subaru WRX STI S209, I'll just say S209 from here on out. So if a car owner, if an S209 owner brings their car to Serpent to have it worked on, and Serpent is a authorized service center, which means that they have those features, the refreshments, the open bar, the massage parlor, and all that stuff, then he needs to be able to verify that that S209 owner is subscribed to that service to provide that person, whoever the owner is, with that service at his ASC. I hope that kind of makes sense. It's almost like just a simple subscription thing where you would be able to show your card, and like even as simple as like Subway used to have with the hole punch, basically you would have one. You would use one. If it was some type of subscription, I don't know, there's thousands of different ways of doing it. But in this case, it's all blockchain, immutable, public ledger, or private. It is public, but, immutable ledger. So that's the reason that you would use it. It's kind of neat use case scenario here that we're working on. So let's see. So let me make sure that this is, so overview, we're gonna work with that one car. That one car, the S209 S001, which would be like VIN number 1 in the USA, has been transferred to RAVENCOIN. RAVENCOIN owns it. We transferred it in one of the live streams. We transferred it over to his fake address, his fake RAVENCOIN address. So that's his address there. Then RAVENCOIN is going to subscribe to VIP Experience, and then I put just a random cost on there. When RAVENCOIN needs service on his car, he takes it to Serpent's ASC, and Serpent verifies that he has a valid subscription, so on and so forth. Now, here's the checklist of what we've completed so far, and you would have to reference previous live streams in order to see all this actually take place. We've done each one of these in a previous live stream. So there's nothing except for maybe the creation of the Subaru stuff. I think I want to say I did that prior to the first stream, but the Subaru USA, because I wanted to get it all done in one episode, and it was just not going to happen. I mean, we got into it, and it got really intense really quick. So we have strung this out over, I think this is the fifth live stream, fifth 30-minute live stream about this. So, but we are pressing forward. So you can see what's going on here, where we're at. And what I realized today, or as I was looking at this a little bit more, is we didn't really, in our scenario here, we didn't really need to create a restricted asset, because all we really needed is the tag. And the tag just says that an address, you know, you can look on the blockchain using the wallet. You can actually now, I mean, the interface is the wallet. And you can verify that an address has a tag. But I haven't found out a way of finding, and I don't think that this would be possible. I don't think you can look to see if an address, or see who owns a restricted asset. I don't know if that's possible or not. I did some messing around in the wallet, the console, and stuff like that. There was a little bit of guidance I got from some people in their Discord. And let me give proper credit here, because let's see, it was Scotty in the Discord, and it looks like he's a moderator, I think, for the RAVENCOIN community Discord. But I tried a couple of things that he was looking at, or told me in the console tab of the debug window and all that, and it just didn't work the way that I thought, at least one part of it, and we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, so after thinking about this a little bit more, I was like, okay, maybe we could use restricted assets in a different way. So let's say that Brandon Coins, the subscription includes 12 of the VIP EXP, the VIP experience restricted assets, right? So that would mean that, so once a month he could use, for example, once a month he could use one of those VIP experience restricted assets and actually pay. So let's say that if it's a 12-month subscription, let's say that each one costs $100. Okay, so now it's $1,200. So then he would say, how would that work? Because Brandon Coin needs to pay for it. So I guess, let me think about this for a second. All right. So it doesn't even matter about the cost, because it's a restricted asset, and that is kind of what you're kind of creating that anyway. And that's what the security tokens offering is. And we're using this in a totally different way than a security token offering would be used, right? But let's just say that he purchases, whatever the cost is, he purchases 12 VIP experiences from VIP Ventures. Let me get this slide back up here. So he purchases 12 of these restricted assets from VIP Ventures. And VIP Ventures is kind of like a partner of Subaru. They kind of, because Brandon Coin is a Subaru because Serpent is an authorized service center for Subaru, then they kind of have to work together in order to make this actually work. Now, obviously, this let's see, how would this work? Subaru USA could have made this tag and these assets, okay? Actually, wouldn't be able to make this asset on. Well, yeah, it would be able to make this asset. So this entity here could have done all this underneath of Subaru. But in our example here, we're kind of pretending that this is its own company that works with Subaru, right? So if Brandon Coin purchases 12 of these, then what he can do with the restricted asset is actually send that to Serpent, okay? To basically pay for that, you know, whenever he brings his car in for that service, whatever it is, he can pay for that with the restricted asset. So in order to make that happen, we would need to tag Serpent's address as well, because Serpent will need to be able to receive the VIP experience restricted asset. And the only way you can receive a restricted asset is if it's tagged for that, by the qualifier for that asset. So anyway, so we're gonna kind of mess around with this tonight. Let's get past this. All right, yeah, that's pretty much all. I'm gonna leave this part up because we might reference it in a minute. Let me get back over here. Let me just minimize everything. All right, so here's the wallet, and this is the one that I've been using. This is the testnet wallet, and we've been using this for, you know, doing this little exercise here. So you can see in here, if we go to manage assets, you can see which assets I have. Inside of the same wallet, you know, I've got all the VIP stuff as well. So I think what we need to do first is actually, let's go back to our little checklist here, because what we need to do, yeah, we did that even though we didn't really need to. Back over here, so we need to tag Serpent's address for, we need him to be able to receive the VIP EXP restricted asset. So that RAVENCOIN can send it to him. Because right now, let me show you this. I think I'll be able to show you this. If we were to try, let's see here, transfer assets, I think we were to try to send if we go back over here, we can see what his address is. Actually, no. Where is Serpent's? Here we go. This is Serpent's address, and I created these on Mango Farm assets, so I'll show you that in just a second. Actually, I'll show you right now so that you can see what we're talking about here. So this is Mango Farm testnet, and this is Serpent's address here, which I still haven't figured out how to see the address, but I guess it's in here somewhere, but I haven't played around with it too much. So we need to see if we can send that address one of the VIP experience restricted assets, okay? So we're gonna send one because we're gonna pretend like we were RAVENCOIN and we were trying to send the VIP restricted asset. So we're gonna click send, and it says this address does not contain the correct tags to pass the verifier string check, right? So that means that it's not a tagged address. So what do we have to do? Well, we need to transfer, actually no, we need to go to restricted assets and then go to assign and remove qualifier. We need to tag it with VIP Ventures. So we're going to try to tag Serpent's address with VIP Ventures so that they can receive the VIP EXP, the VIP experience restricted asset. So just ignore the number. Whenever we created that 209, we were thinking we were going to do one per car and all that stuff, and that's not the way it's going to work. All right, so we're going to go check here. Data has been validated. You can now submit the qualifier request. So submit. So now we have to wait. See how there's question marks in between. We went to transactions. There's question marks before the transactions here. So we kind of have to wait for a few minutes. But once that's done, we will be able to we'll be able to send, because Because what we're doing now is we're tagging Serpent's Raven address to be able to receive the restricted asset, which is VIP experience. So if this was the case and there were 209 of these cars and you could only purchase the VIP experience subscription per car, right? And let's say you can only use one per month, so that's 12 per car, then that's the number that you would need to actually have here, 12 times 209, right? Because you would want, as the company, right, as the company that is selling these tags or selling these subscriptions, VIP Ventures, you would want to be able to give 12 to each car owner, right? You'd probably have a few more in there just for giveaways or whatever, you know, but in general you would have 12 if you limit it to one per month. Hey, what's up, Red Panda? What's up, Batman? What's up, Don? Nobody likes this RAVENCOIN content for some reason. I find it fascinating, but I don't know. I guess you guys don't. I'm gonna get through this one way or the other. With or without you, I'm getting through it. Because I want to learn how it works. All right, so we do have to wait on this to get a check. I think we have to wait all the way until it gets a check mark. But while we're doing that, let's see, we do have, so go to manage assets. We do have, yeah, like this would be reissuing. I don't really want to, let me just go to overview and see. Okay, so I do have 209, so that's plenty for us to do the little test that we want. We've got 209 of the restricted assets. What we're going to be able to do is send this to Serpent. But in reality, what would be happening is RAVENCOIN would be sending it. So we can actually do that, I think. Let's see. So you know what we need to do? We need to send RAVENCOIN some more. That's what we need to do. So let's send RAVENCOIN some more of the restricted assets, because right now RAVENCOIN only has one, right? So he needs to have 11 more if he's going to do 12, one per month for a year. So it's a year subscription, you get 12, boom, off you go. So let's go ahead and give him 11 more. I don't know why this always defaults to 100,000. It's kind of weird. All right. We're gonna try to send him 11 more of the VIP experience restricted asset. So if we go back over to here, I think I don't know how fast it probably has to go through the same confirmations. I think it does show up over here a little bit quicker than in the wallet though, but I don't know for sure. Don, no, this is not staking. RAVENCOIN does not have any type of staking. This is restricted assets and tags so that you can tag addresses to receive restricted assets, and this basically is for security token offerings, STO. It makes it, you can't say SEC compliant because there really is no such thing, but it makes it comply with securities laws from way back in 1933. So, which is what they kind of focus on, right? So you could, you know, what it's, the main reason for it would be to create your own security token offering, create your own STO, your own token, launch it on RAVENCOIN because it's all at the protocol level, right? And then, you know, like if an address, let's say that in order for an entity or a person, in order for a person to hold an asset that is a security token offering, they have to go through KYC, AML, all that identification stuff. Well, there could be a company that does KYC, AML, and then tags that address, tags that person's address that wants to receive that security token offering, right? Tags that address with KYC that STO honors, right? So KYC from KYC company, we honor that. So now you have purchased 10 whatever STO tokens from me. Now I can send them to you and know that your KYC is good to go because that company over there has tagged your address as having done the KYC. And I think what I'm going to do, because this little scenario that we're working on now is kind of not the way that it was just, I mean, you can use it for whatever you want. I mean, let's be honest. Your imagination is the only limitation here. But it was kind of a struggle to get through this because restricted assets, you know, the whole thing was for being compliant with securities laws, right? And what we were doing it doesn't need that. So, but with this whole subscription and the 12 VIP experience restricted assets that were purchased, and see, here's the cool thing. That stuff can be traded, right, between all these different users. So the value of that VIP experience token could go up if it was, you know, obviously it would be over the counter, you know, value, right? But let's say that they have a limited number of subscriptions, and they do. Let's say that, how could you do this? How could you make it more rare? So if let's say that there's only 100 subscriptions available total, but there are 209 of the cars that the subscription is for. Now you've got a situation where the owners of those S209s, there's more cars than there are tokens, the restricted asset. So the value of that restricted asset, the subscription cost might actually go up, right? It depends on demand and supply and all that stuff. But it's just a cool dynamic to think about in this whole weird little scenario that we're going through here. So, yeah, the way that we're doing it is not exactly as designed, you know. I was thinking about doing a whole other series of live streams that show how it would work with KYC, AML, exchange, actual security tokens themselves. You know, like if you were launching a security token that had a product, like you had a service or something that you were going to try to implement, some type of utility, right? Then how it would all be set up, who would do what, how, you know, and how it would all work. I think I might actually attack that next and try to get even deeper into it with the messaging and the voting and all those other features that are out there as well. So we will see. Let's go and check on this right here. All right, so see, I just did a refresh and you can see that now he's got 12. So Brandon Coin has used 0 of his VIP experience tokens, his restricted assets. So what we'll do is we need to send one, because we are taking this car. Brandon Coin has taken his S001 to an authorized service center, which is Serpent X. And we needed to burn not burn, that's the wrong terminology because you can burn it too. But we need to send this to Serpent. So let's see if we can do that. Let's see, this right here was when we did that. Here is probably going to fail because it's not verified yet. So Serpent's address, we need that. I don't even have it on here yet. I think it's at this last one here, yeah. So here is Serpent's address. This is all testnet. And what we need to do is from Brandon's wallet, we need to send, this is Brandon's because he's the one with the card. So we need to, how would this work? All right, so we're going to transfer get rid of that space at the end there. The number is 1. And this is a pin that you set up whenever you set up the wallet initially. And if you're going to use this Mango Farm assets to do a wallet, I would encourage you to definitely document everything that you do whenever you first set it up, because it seems like there's no way of viewing it after the fact. I could just be an idiot, but it just seems like that's the case. In other words, you can't see what your address is. You can't see what username you got. It's, yeah. Document all that stuff whenever you're setting up. That's pretty common with web wallets anyway. It's not a big deal, but it'd be nice if you could just click somewhere in here and show like, hey, this is what your normal receiving address is, you know. All right, so we're gonna send asset here, and it looks like it went. Okay, so that's cool. Maybe it already confirmed while we were, well, I guess it doesn't require a full confirmation, so maybe that's okay. But now we should be able to switch back over to, this is Serpent's wallet. And what we should see eventually is an asset show up under here. That is the restricted asset. And I just thought of a whole other thing here too, because now that restricted asset is going to be owned by Serpent. Well, what can Serpent do? Because he's the one that does the authorized service center stuff. So what he could do is he could resell those, right? Now, there are features built into this whole ecosystem here that would allow those addresses to be, or those restricted assets to be frozen, right? You can freeze them to where they can't be transferred. So probably what would happen is the company, VIP Ventures, the company, would freeze that asset for Serpent so that he couldn't do that unless it was going to be part of the plan for them to actually allow him to do it. I don't know. You know, it all depends on how you want to set up, but it's cool to note that if you did want to set it to where he can receive them but he can't transfer them, you can do that on this platform. So I think that's kind of cool. All right, so there it is. So I just did a refresh, and there is a VIP experience 1 that we sent from Brandon Coin's wallet. So if we go back to his and we do a refresh, you're going to see this go to 11. There you go. So now he's got 11. So he sent one to Serpent to pay for his service and his VIP treatment. And there you go. So that's a full end-to-end scenario for how a restricted asset could work. Now, again, like I was talking about earlier, you could build on this and, you know, really restrict, you know, freeze it for Serpent. There's lots of different ways of doing this, but I'm glad to see that we finally got through like the whole scenario from one end to the other. So I could probably condense this down into one video and just boom, boom, boom and knock it out. Maybe I'll do that at some point, but I think I'm going to expand on this a little bit more. I'm going to go through a couple of different scenarios, and now that I'm kind of understanding terminology, what type of assets are needed, required for different scenarios, I think it'll be a little bit better to go through it and a little bit slicker and smoother, because I was getting really hung up those first couple of live streams. I was like, man, because the terminology is the hardest part, because you got, you know, the now I'm going to forget what it's called. You've got the qualifier, which is the tag asset, right? And then that has to be, this is what you tag addresses with, other RAVENCOIN addresses with, so that they can receive the VIP experience restricted asset, right? Then you had to create a main asset before you create the restricted asset. And we go through all that. We went through all that in all the different live streams previous to this. So anyway, that is going to do it for me. We are probably 10 minutes late or so for RAVENCOIN. I don't know if he's live or not. Let's go over there and check and see if I got a notification. I did. All right, great. So let's go ahead and, yeah, he's live. So let's go ahead and go over there to RAVENCOIN and we will do the Savage rate thing, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I might actually do a premiere tomorrow afternoon at some point. I've got some Arrow content to cover. So I'll see you guys there. See you tomorrow at the latest, but stay savage, everybody.